the City Council regular meeting to order for Monday, May 5th, 2025. Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Wilson.
Here.
Councilmember Cordes.
Here.
Mayor Hoyt.
Here.
Councilmember Bernatz. Here. Councilmember Lean.
Here.
All right, any changes to the agenda?
No.
All right, unless there's changes to the agenda, I'd seek a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Holly, second by Jake. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, first item is 5.1 under our announcements and commendation, which is the Peace Officers Memorial Day Proclamation. Chief?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Let me make that just a little bit larger so I can actually read what I'm looking at here. Peace Officers Memorial Day is observed annually on May 15th to honor law enforcement officers who've lost their lives or been disabled in the line of duty. Recognizing this day emphasizes our community's gratitude and remembrances of the sacrifices made by members of the law enforcement profession. Each year, communities across the country come together on May 15th to commemorate Peace Officers Memorial Day. The City of Farmington will honor the service and sacrifice of our fallen disabled officers by officially proclaiming May 15th, 2025 as Peace Officers Memorial Day in Farmington. This proclamation reflects the city's ongoing respect and appreciation for the men and women who risk their lives daily to protect our community. Action requested this evening is to proclaim May 15th, 2025 as Peace Officers Memorial Day in Farmington.
Thank you, sir. At this time, we'll read the Peace Officers Memorial Day Proclamation.
Whereas law enforcement officers across the nation serve with courage, dedication, and sacrifice to ensure the safety and protection of our communities, and
whereas each year we honor and remember the brave officers who have lost their lives or been disabled in the line of duty while safeguarding the rights and freedoms of others, and
whereas the men and women of law enforcement deserve the heartfelt gratitude of the citizens they serve, as they willingly place themselves in harm's way to maintain peace, enforce laws, and uphold justice. And
whereas Peace Officers Memorial Day, observed annually on May 15th, offers the citizens of Farmington and across the nation the opportunity to express our appreciation for the ultimate sacrifice made by fallen officers and to acknowledge the continuing service of those who protect us every day. And
whereas the City of Farmington recognizes the importance of honoring those officers who have fallen, supporting their families, and reaffirming our commitment to the values of service, integrity, and bravery that define the law enforcement profession. And whereas lowering flags to half-staff on May 15th and participating in memorial events pays tribute to those officers whose sacrifices will never be forgotten.
now therefore I, Joshua Hoyt, Mayor, on behalf of the Farmington City Council, do hereby proclaim May 15th, 2025 as Peace Officers Memorial Day in Farmington. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Right, next item on the agenda is 5.2, which is National Public Works Week Proclamation. John?
Thank you, Mayor and Council members. 2025 marks the 65th Annual National Public Works Week, sponsored by the American Public Works Association. States, provinces, cities, and other municipalities across North America are encouraged to celebrate with official proclamations in recognition of the contribution Public Works makes to our community. It's in the public interest for the citizens, civic leaders, and children in our community to gain knowledge of Public Works activities and to maintain an ongoing interest and understanding of the importance of Public Works and Public Works programs. I'm requesting that you proclaim the week of May 18th to 24th, 2025 as National Public Works Week in Farmington.
Thank you, sir. At this time, we'll read the National Public Works Week, May 18th to 24, 2025 proclamation.
whereas public works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are of vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities and to the public health, health, high quality of life and well-being of the people of Farmington, and
Whereas these infrastructure, facilities, and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of public works professionals, who include maintenance workers, engineers, managers, and employees at all levels of government, who are responsible for building, improving, protecting, and operating our nation's transportation corridors, water supply, wastewater systems, storm drainage systems, fleet, and other essential facilities for our citizens, and
Whereas it is in the public interest for the citizens, civic leaders, and children in Farmington to gain knowledge of and to maintain an ongoing interest and understanding of the importance of public works and public works programs in their respective communities. And
Whereas the year 2025 marks, excuse me, the 65th Annual National Public Works Weeks, sponsored by the American Public Works Association and Canadian Public Works Association.
Now therefore, I, Joshua Hoyt, Mayor, on behalf of the Farmington City Council, do hereby designate the week May 18 to 24, 2025, as National Public Works Week. I urge all citizens to join with representatives of the American Public Works Association and government agencies in activities, events, and ceremonies designated to pay tribute to our public works professionals, maintenance workers, engineers, managers, and employees to recognize the substantial contributions they make to protecting our national health, safety, and quality of life for all.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Item 5.3 is the TATER Days proclamation. Shirley.
Thank you, Mayor. Before you tonight is a proclamation for Farmington's annual community festival, now known as Top the Tater Days, June 26 to 29, 2025.
Thank you. We'll now read the Farmington Top the Tater Days proclamation.
whereas the Farmington Community Festival, known as Dew Days, was created in 1979 to celebrate that the citizens of Farmington drink more Mountain Dew than any other city, and
You keep going.
You've got that one too.
And whereas a city festival was planned to celebrate, and the citizens of Farmington have continued to support this festival in our historic downtown to celebrate family-friendly fun and community pride since 1979, and
Whereas the festival may have changed its name, location, and activities over the years, but the one thing that has not changed is the citizens of Farmington who love to celebrate each summer, and
Whereas Kemp's has been a Farmington business for almost 100 years and has committed to a multi-year partnership to be the naming sponsor of the event, and whereas the festival name has now changed to Top the Tater Days, and
whereas Farmington City Code, Section 3-11-5, allows the City Council to grant an exception to the ordinance Section 3-11-4 prohibition, which states that it is unlawful for any person to drink or to display in an open container any intoxicating liquor or non-intoxicating malt liquor upon any public street, alley, sidewalk, walkway, or thoroughfare within the city limits of Farmington, and
whereas an exception to the ordinance will be made by proclamation for a specified period of time to accommodate a public, civic, or municipal activity, community-wide, such as a celebration or festival, where the public may enjoy local and regional music and arts, activities, history, and culture.
now therefore I, Mayor Joshua Hoyt, on behalf of the City Council of the City of Farmington, do hereby proclaim an exception to City Code Section 3-11-4 for Top the Tater Days from Thursday, June 26th through Sunday, June 29th, and ask that the citizens of Farmington join me in celebrating Top the Tater Days. All right. Our next item on the agenda is citizen comments. Anyone wishing to speak, come up at this time. Remember that citizen comments is a time for anyone to address the city council on matters not on the agenda. Those speaking should state their name and address and limit their comments to 5 minutes. The city council will not engage in discussion on your topic, but those requiring a response will be responded to by the next city council meeting. Go ahead.
My name is Gary Johnson, 22280 Berrien Avenue, Farmington, Castle Rock, Minnesota. I am here to respond, Mr. Mayor, to your lecture a month ago. I was unable to be here the last meeting, so I think it needs to be responded to. I would like to say thank you for telling us to go to the Castle Rock Town Board. How could we never have thought of that? I wish I could say that, Mr. Mayor, but we had been doing that for months. Not only Castle Rock Township people, but people, residents of the city of Farmington. They went to those meetings, they raised their hands, they were acknowledged, and they spoke. I guess that's what it means to have a public meeting. I don't know if you can remember, but about a year ago, the first planning commission meeting relative to this data center project was held in this room. It was standing room only. And every single meeting after that, relative to that, was also almost standing room only. Mr. Mayor, I don't know what the population of Farmington is, 25, 30,000, I don't know. Castle Rock Township has 1,350 people. You tried to shame one Farmington resident in that lecture you gave. Guess what? Take a look at that percentage between the number of people in Farmington and the number of people in Castle Rock. Apply that percentage to everybody that was standing in this room. How many of them do you think were from Farmington? Everybody who spoke against this project. Everybody who spoke at every other meeting spoke against this project. They were not only Castle Rock Township residents. They were people from the city of Farmington. And I wish for you to please acknowledge that.
Thank you.
Nancy Arstead, Beaumont Avenue. Can we please find out where our ethics complaints are at? A few weeks ago in a meeting, the mayor brought up labor unions, employee rights, vetting, and implied something might still be pending, which was not clear. Full honesty, we have never been told this before. This was brand new news. All we've received are letters saying that our ethics complaints were internally reviewed and dismissed. So can you please tell us, were they truly dismissed, or are they still pending? If so, pending with whom? Please, we ask for a clear answer by the next city council meeting, someone to please tell us the truth with sufficient description. The mayor also mentioned our lawsuits. I understand legal limitations, but these ethics complaints are separate. They are about city staff behavior, not litigation. Please understand, my private emails were taken without my consent and used by your city staff. They were not public. I did not authorize your city staff to share them, distribute them, use them to further the city's agenda, and yet they did without my knowledge. They knew they were private, they knew what they were doing, and they did it to a large group of us for 7 months, dozens and dozens of emails. Think if your personal emails were compromised and used without your consent in the same manner, and then imagine complaining to the wrongdoer or the city, and they told you that they had every right to do it. I think you would be upset too. Please understand, I've been personally wronged. When I submitted the complaints backed with clear proof, the city administrator told me that our complaints were unsubstantiated and dismissed. When I asked how that could be, citing your own employee handbook and the rules that were broken, I was told to submit a data request. Submit a data request. I've spent over $600 on data requests from this city, and I wait, and I wait, and I wait, and I'm still waiting. Now I'm told that's the only way the city will respond. That doesn't sound like accountability. It feels like obstruction. I'm not beating up staff. That couldn't be further from the truth. I'm calling out an ethical breach against me by city staff that caused harm to me personally. What would you do if you were me? I'm standing up for myself and begging the city for accountability. I know that your staff has been amazing to you. You will have to forgive me if I don't feel like your staff was amazing to me. I'm also grateful one council member wasn't swayed by those developer talking points that your staff distributed to you elected officials very early in the process. We're grateful for that independence and thank him sincerely, we truly do. Unfortunately, 4 out of 5 of you voted the way the developer and the staff wanted you to. To me, the talking points looked pretty effective. Why does this matter so much? Because if you do this to me, you do it to someone else. Your staff said it's okay to do. What guarantees any business you might have a dispute with in town, or any other group of people have, that your city staff wouldn't do this very same thing to them if given the opportunity? If your staff could somehow gain access to their emails or sensitive material, see something left open on a desk, or leave a computer open, is any business or any resident safe? By dismissing our complaints, your city staff is sending a powerful message to those who live here and own businesses here in Farmington. The city of Farmington loses its integrity if this behavior is allowed to stand. That's why it matters. Thank you.
Thank you. And Amy, you'll be able to respond to Nancy's comment by the next city council meeting, correct?
If that's what you'd like, yes.
Please. Yep.
Good evening. My name is Esther Varga, 3094 225th Street, Farmington. As the city has made its position clear, I'm hoping to reach those of you who are listening and looking at this recording. The mayor told us last time that we are not welcome to speak here because we are not residents. Well, I checked, and anyone can speak at a city council meeting. I'm a taxpayer of this county, and ISD 192, and my mailing address is Farmington 55024. The mayor said we should complain at Castle Rock. We do. However, we are within our rights to express our complaint to the city, as the city is imposing harm upon us. I have a very sad example of a city overstepping a so-called public interest versus private properties. You probably heard of the Kilo versus New London, where the city of New London used eminent domain to take private properties to give to a private developer with the assistance of the Supreme Court. The Kilo fiasco cost taxpayers tens of millions of dollars with nothing to show for it. The carefully vetted municipal plans that formed the basis for the Supreme Court's decision proved to be illusory. Eventually, the city of New London and one of the Supreme Court justices extended an apology to Suzette Kilo and her neighbors, just a bit too late, a few years too late. The development project was abandoned, a vacant lot, not generating any tax revenue for the city. The promised thousands of new jobs and $1.2 million a year in tax revenue had not materialized. A neighborhood once teeming with families who resided here for generations. Sounds familiar? Clarence Thomas, Associate Justice of the Supreme Court, stated, and I quote, "The deferential shift of phraseology enables the court to hold against all common sense that a costly urban renewal project whose stated purpose is a vague promise of new jobs and increased tax revenue, but which is also suspiciously agreeable to Pfizer Corporation, is for a public use. Something has gone seriously awry with this court's interpretation of the Constitution. Though citizens are safe from the government in their homes, the homes themselves are not safe." End of quote of Mr. Thomas. And this is what the city of Farmington is doing. Instead of Pfizer, we have a so-called technology park disguising a major industrial development. And this is all from Wikipedia. I'm not making this up. The Supreme Court's ruling meant that Kilo, her neighbors, and every property-owning American faced the threat of losing their homes and businesses to a private developer under the guise of raising tax revenue and creating jobs. I quote Wikipedia, "Pfizer, which received major tax breaks to move into New London and was the intended beneficiary of the promised private development project, closed their New London facility right before its tax breaks ended." The moral of the story here is that a local government can overstep private property owners' rights based on promises that have no guarantees of materializing. So, Mr. Mayor, you said last time that you are confident that you'd win. Maybe so. But if Farmington wins, sadly, it would be the repeat of this unethical Kelo case. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nate Ryan, Cambrian Way. I'd like to talk about three major points tonight. So the first being is we are just kind of passing that year mark. And a year ago, I sat at this very podium and talked to the Planning Commission about what their actions were going to be and what they were actually considering. Those things were about zoning. And to me, what this project has been about the entire time is about zoning, and not a good way to rezone a property for the right reasons. And I'm still here tonight to continue that talk and to continue that conversation, hopefully. This project is an industrial project. There's no question in my mind or anyone's mind that this is an industrial project. We know that because on the AUAR that was submitted, it says it's a 100% industrial project. This is nothing about mixed use, commercial, industrial. This is an industrial project. We know, and we're starting to learn, that the company was giving you talking points and trying to convince and help you along, make that stretch that they were going to be mixed-use commercial industrial. Because we all know that not only is this a major departure from not only the local planning, zoning, laws, rules, and regulations, it's also a major departure from the regional zoning, rules, and regulations as well. Majorly because this is an industrial project. So it's kind of interesting. So we kind of, I think that many of you are like, well, no, it's not. Industrial project is Coke refinery. Industrial project is like the gas that we have over here. But interestingly, where the other data center is going is already zoned 100% industrial. So that's an industrial project too. You're trying to pigeonhole this. You're trying to put this project here because you know it doesn't fit under 100% industrial. You know that the Met Council or the county board or even your local attorneys here would never say, let's put an industrial spot right between two neighborhoods. But what you don't know is, and what you don't have is defined, clear objection of what does industrial mean. Industrial means that industrial under that, what it means to most of us is how it looks from the outside. But if we start to look at the amount of energy, the water, the power that this thing is going to use, that is an industrial use. And I don't think that any of you really dug into that. What does this look like? Is this an industrial project? Can we define what that is? Industrial in your city code, this meets a lot of that. There is going to be outside storage, those generators being a big part of that. Yet you still want to approve this project anyways. You still want to make this project go forward. We also know that this project is industrial just purely based off the amount of energy that this project is going to use. I've already mentioned this, but just the electricity alone. It's going to be one of the, if not one of the largest consumers of electricity in the state of Minnesota. That right there tells me that this is probably an industrial project. Because there's no big smokestacks, because it doesn't look that way, right? So it doesn't mean that it's not an industrial project, 100% industrial project. And I think that what's scary is, like I said last week or last council meeting, is that, and I called you all puppets, and I'm not going to apologize for that, but if you're just taking the talking points and reading, like you did last meeting, and you're just reading those things, that's where you get into trouble. And frankly, that's what this lawsuit will be over in the end, is zoning issues and you just blanketly saying, yes, we're just going to approve an industrial project. And that's wrong. That's wrong. It's so wrong on many levels. The other thing that you may or may not have considered is, the last person talked about, is we do have rights. We have property rights in the state of Minnesota. We have property rights, and those rights exist. This project is something that, I just had the word in my mind. It's not blight, it's, I can't think of it. Shoot, it just popped out of my mind, but hopefully it will come back to me. But basically, obsolescence is what it is. So there is obsolescence that occurs in a neighborhood, and obsolescence occurs in an exterior factor like this. There's functional obsolescence, like if your house is all cut up and you can't get from one room, that's functional obsolescence. So exterior obsolescence is exactly what this project is going to be. So mainly because it does fall out of the zoning rules and regulations that are set for mixed-use commercial industrial, those being height restrictions. In your own city code, it says when you do a when you do a PUD, a PUD, basically, a planned unit development, that you're not going to supersede the existing code that's there. Well, in mixed-use commercial industrial, the height restrictions are well above that. So you're creating obsolescence by allowing this to come through. And I sure hope that you're looking to your city attorney or the attorney representing you in this lawsuit and asking these questions. Because as I started this conversation a year ago, I warned you about these things. I also warned you the fact that the agreement between yourselves and Castle Rock, that along that east side, there is a 150-foot setback already that exists there for utilities. So, and I think that unintentionally, you probably created a cloud on title with the golf course property by not examining that, not dealing with that. I'm curious if the Olsons were ever paid for that. So they're clearly not being paid enough or as much as the school district is for their property. I mean, all that information's public. I'm not making accusations, but I definitely think that that is something to look at. So, and again, the zoning portion of it is the biggest piece of this project that just shouldn't be there. It's crazy to me that you just do whatever your staff says that you should do. So, and you don't take into consideration all of the other factors that have happened or that are going into this project. It takes a lot of time. I understand that. It takes a lot of time to read. It takes a lot of time to understand what your city staff is saying. It takes a lot of time to do your own research, because if they're pushing you, they're only providing you one side of that. I think that's wrong as somebody who's supposed to protect us, protect the citizens of Farmington. I'm not going to rehash that from my last conversation. Hopefully my points were well made. The second thing
Nate, I need to wrap it up because your time's expired.
Yeah, I'm really actually happy because that is my second point that I just like to point out here. So one of the things is when I got done with my speech last week, my son in the car ride home said, "Dad, why did you get off the podium? You have a First Amendment right. You can talk." He's 10 years old. I'm actually very thankful that our public school system has made him realize that he does have First Amendment rights and what those rights mean. And he used it in the right context. We allow swearing in our home, but the rule is that you have to use it in the right context. And you have to use it in the right way. And you have to be able to repeat to mom or dad exactly what that word means. And he did that with the First Amendment. And I just find it so interesting that you do have a public comment period, but then you try to limit it at 5 minutes. Last week, a person before me spoke for over 6 minutes, and you didn't remind them, you didn't say anything to them. But when I get up here and start to speak, you're 5 minutes right on the nose. You're like, enough, enough, enough. So there has been many times throughout this country where our First Amendment rights are trampled on. I'm just going to read something to you. This is what the Supreme Court said about that. Profound national comment
Nate, your time's
to the
expired.
principle that debate
And
on
the first
public
time that I
issues
mentioned it was
should
at
be
6.5
inhibited,
minutes
robust
for you.
and wide open, that may very well include vehement, caustic, sometimes unpleasant, sharp attacks on government and peer public officials.
Nate,
By
you're
doing
done.
this, potentially what you're doing is called viewpoint discrimination.
No, actually, it's called rules of decorum.
So,
and as the presiding officer of the meeting, that is one of the rules that I get to enforce. It's one of the rules that's actually granted to me by the state of Minnesota and the Constitution.
So it's very interesting
So,
that you bring
Nate,
that
you're
up, the
done.
state of Minnesota. Do you know the court case that was decided over, and do you understand what
Nate?
that was?
Nate, your time has expired.
So that court case was actually through a independent school district court case. That's
There's
in
official business that still needs to be conducted, and if your attempt to hijack this meeting is to prove some point that I have somehow single-handedly chosen you at a time constraint, you're grossly mistaken. Your time is
that's called
expired.
viewpoint discrimination. I don't think that you're doing it against me. I think that you're doing it against my viewpoints, Mr. Mayor. So, and anyone else in that elected body can also trump you. They can allow me more time. All they have to do is make a motion and say, hey, I'd like to give Mr. Ryan more time. That's all that you have to do. And I understand that you may not want to do it, but I would also encourage you that you are potentially doing viewpoint discrimination.
If
Every
there's
time that
anyone
you try
else
to
wishing to
silence me-
speak, you can come up and do so at this time. Otherwise, we will move on with our agenda.
Every opportunity that I've given you says that. The last thing that
Then
I just...
file a civil rights complaint.
Right. So just sue us. That's your answer to everything, Mr.
No,
Mayor. It's
Nate.
just sue us.
No, it's not.
Just
You-
sue us.
you
You don't
wanna
like
make-
what we're
you
doing,
wanna
just
make a
sue us.
point, make a point.
That's your answer to everything. It's just sue us. Just spend your personal money and just sue us. You don't like what I say, just sue me.
It's
You don't
not
like
about
what we
what
do.
you say, it's about the
It is
rules of
absolutely
decorum. Do you know that as the presiding officer, I have the ability to not even allow citizen comments?
I do know that, Mr.
Okay?
Mayor.
And-
Absolutely.
and we have
Please
talked
don't
about
talk
that in
down to
work
me.
sessions.
I understand that you may not like me personally, but please don't talk down to me.
Pretty bold
I
assertions to
appreciate
be
that.
making, Nate.
So,
Pretty bold. Your time has expired. If there's anyone else wishing to speak, they can come up and do so at this time.
I'd just like to remind
There's a
everyone
couple
here
of
too.
sound bites in there for you, Nate. Your time has expired.
I'd just like to say congratulations to the new police chief. I'm surprised that you didn't pull it out of the consent agenda.
My name is Terry Pearson, 2475 225th Street West. I don't represent any organization. The last time I checked, I'm a natural-born American citizen. The city of Farmington has been heavy-handed when it comes to the rezoning of property that butts up to mine. And again, I say, is a hyperscale data center development healthy and safe to be located 250 feet from my house? I am not alone in saying no. We are living in a dark time in history when people with money and influence are attempting to take away our individual power. While some people have been silenced, I will use my power to speak the truth to all that have ears.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak? Seeing none, we'll move on to item 7, which is our consent agenda. I'd seek a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Nick, second by Holly. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Move on to new business, 12.1, which is amend Title 8, Chapter 11 of the Farmington City Code regarding right-of-way management. John?
Thank you, Mayor and City Council members. This is a follow-up to the extensive conversation we had on April 7th with regard to right-of-way management, our permitting process, and challenges we've faced in the past year, as well as the increase in number of right-of-way permit requests. We've taken that conversation and, with the assistance of the city attorney and the city clerk, have converted it into ordinance form for your consideration. When developing the construction specifications, we use the specifications already used by Dakota County for their right-of-way permit, so we didn't start from scratch, and we wanted something that was proven and workable, but we modified it slightly for our own use. Key areas addressed on the revised code in ordinance form are the requirements for communication with property owners, including local points of contact for the facility owner and contractor, as well as advanced construction notification. This includes mailed notice, door hangers in advance. We also reference the city municipal separate storm sewer system, MS4 requirements, and erosion control specifications. This is directly the result of our permit requirements that we have an obligation to the MPCA to adhere to those, and the contractors need to adhere to those. We've more incorporated the traffic control requirements per the Minnesota Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices. And finally, one of the key issues is incorporating winter season requirements to minimize right-of-way permit work during times of hazardous road conditions and low visibility. So we don't want contractors out there working, even if it's nice out today, they start work and it's not something that happens overnight. We don't want them to have equipment or stockpiles or anything like that in the way of traveling public or for snow and ice control. From a budget standpoint, our budgeted revenue for utility permits last year was $23,740. The actual was $80,017. Based on the changes we've recommended here and with some assumptions about how much time the engineering technician spends, that would result in about $55,200 in costs. So we believe that the fees we collect this year will cover the cost of the engineering technician's additional time in this regard. So we're not recommending a fee increase. With that, We're requesting that you approve and pass ordinance 2025-002, amending Title 8, Chapter 11 of the Farmington City Code regarding right-of-way management. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, sir. Jake, any questions?
No questions from me. Thank you, John, for putting this together after our lengthy conversation a few weeks ago.
Steve?
Yeah, I guess sort of similar to Jake. You know, John, when you presented this to us at a work session, I thought it was extremely well organized, well researched, a lot of good detail. I would like to request, if possible, maybe give council an update, I would say in November, December, on how some of these changes have worked out. Maybe kind of give an idea if, to the best of what we have at that time, the revenue receipts that we've come in. And I guess I would encourage you to monitor that, because I know at our work session, we were talking about dedicating, you know, one of our, you know, senior folks to that particular activity. So I think we definitely want to make sure that receipts come in as expected. So that's what I have. Thank you.
Holly?
Nothing for me.
Nick?
I think Steve hit the point that I was after, is just making sure, I know you said there's no fees right now, but I do want to make sure that we basically cover our costs at least, so keep an eye on that one.
You're welcome, Nick.
Thanks.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add. We had a very healthy conversation during work session about why this even is coming forward and the amount of right-of-way utility work that's being done through different providers, albeit good net benefit to our residents, but at the same time, there's a logistical process and there's costs incurred, and just something that we're, you know, having to think a little bit more broadly about. So I appreciate you and your team's due diligence. With that, I would seek a motion to approve and pass ordinance 2025 TAG 002, amending Title 8, Chapter 11 of the Farmington City Code regarding right-of-way management.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Steve, second by Jake. Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Burnett.
Yes.
Councilmember Lean.
Yes.
Councilmember Wilson.
Yes.
Councilmember Cordes.
Yes.
Mayor Hoyt.
Yes.
Thank you. With that, we would publish the summary ordinance, and we will actually reach out to every communication company and contractor to share the fact that the ordinance has changed, to make them aware of it, so we can gain compliance.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Roundtable, Amy, you'd start.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a point of clarification on your request to me to follow up with one of the speakers from public comment, on the assumption that the follow-up would be regarding the ethics complaints that were filed. I would note that the city has a separate attorney for employment. So with your permission, I would defer to that attorney to make the response, and I can work with the city administrator to make sure that either I or that attorney respond appropriately, if that's okay with you.
Please and thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for the clarification. We'll work with Flaherty and Hood.
Thank you. Anything else to add?
Well, to prove that I don't take myself too seriously, as a follow-up to your last meeting, I would just say that I have nothing further to report.
Thank you.
Requested, here's my Kentucky Derby hat. One of many in my collection from my hometown. Just for anybody else's reference, I did grow up on a horse farm in the horse business in Kentucky, so that's why it's my favorite holiday.
I was mostly just curious if you picked the winner or not.
I did not.
No other questions from me.
Nothing? Holly?
Well, in the consent agenda was a pretty big and pretty special, what would you say, change to the police department, and just a robust and exciting congratulations. As hard as it is going to be to not have Chief Rutherford's antics and sense of humor and whatnot as a part of my regular interactions, I could not be more pleased than to welcome you into that position. So congratulations.
Jake?
I will just echo what Holly said. Nate, congratulations on this well-deserved honor.
Steve?
I want to congratulate the high school theater program for the amazing work that they did and all the talented high school men and women who were part of Guys and Dolls. It was pretty darn amazing. And also, Kelly, I don't know, we've talked about this a little bit before. Okay, so for anybody who drives the roundabouts, Pilot and 195th, Aiken and 195th, from my perspective, it's terrifying in the sense of the crosswalks where the people cross and where the bikes cross and cars are watching. I mean, I'm waiting to get rear-ended because I'm gonna slow down and stop. So I guess I'd really, there's obviously a lot of bikers out there. And the reason I bring up Dakota County is we've talked to them about moving further back those cross areas so that way traffic can see them, especially kind of in the blind area. And even though we're kind of at the bike, running season already, Kelly, maybe there's a possibility they can throw up a sign of some type. I know signs are one of those deals where, you kind of notice it for a month or two and then it kind of becomes invisible, but I just want it to be on their radar that, I think it's a big issue. And then, lastly, Nate, super excited to have you promoted. I know that the acknowledgement on our agenda today is really just kind of the formal-ish announcement, but that we have your kind of celebration and swearing in coming in. So looking forward to you taking over, and obviously we're gonna miss the chief too. So it's a exciting transition.
I too would like to congratulate Chief Rutherford on his official retirement on May 30th, and I'm guessing we're gonna have a big party. I haven't been asked to coordinate that, but I'm not the party planner, so congratulations, and thank you for setting us up for success in the police department. And Nate, we're looking forward to your new role, and you have big shoes to fill. So thank you and congratulations.
Congratulations, Nate.
David?
We're looking forward to having Karina Short join us as our newest senior administrative support technician at the front desk. She's scheduled to join us on Wednesday, so we're very excited for that. Congratulations, Nate. Looking forward to working with you for many more years. Gary, we've still got you on payroll for 24 days.
Deanna?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I just echo what everybody else has said. Congratulations, Nate, and congratulations, Gary.
John?
Thank you, Mayor and council members. The 2025 street improvements will have the pre-construction meeting tomorrow, so residents in that neighborhood can expect us to send out a notice for a neighborhood meeting where they can meet the contractor and the inspector that'll be working on the project. As well as on this project, we've initiated a process where we're doing inspections of houses prior to construction starting to look for cracks, deficiencies in the foundations, things like that, and documenting it, making that available to the resident. So if there's a issue that comes up during construction, that we have some point of reference for that information. And obviously, congratulations to Nate. Well-deserved, and well-deserved to you, Chief. Thank you.
Kelly?
A week from Friday, Friday, May 16th, is the 4th annual spring food truck event at Stelzl Ballfield in Empire. We have 8 confirmed food trucks. It'll be from 5 to 8 p.m. I do want to say, send a huge thank you to both the Farmington Park and Rec Commission and City of Empire Park and Rec Commission. It's a great joint effort to do that event, and last year was great. We probably had over 1,300 people there, so hope to see you next Friday. And then the following day, Saturday, May 17th, the Veteran Steak Fry at the VFW is for the Rambling River Center. That is from 4 to 8 p.m. $17 gets you a grilled Von Hansen steak, potato, salad, and dessert. I do believe there will probably be lemon bars there if you're available on that Saturday. Hope to see you there. Yep. And just want to congratulate Nate. Look forward to working with you. And Gary, I'm going to miss you, but congratulations. Well deserved.
Kim?
I too want to extend my congratulations to both Nate and the chief. Also, I wanted to highlight on tonight's consent agenda, they were the preliminary 2024 financial statements, and it looks to be a strong performance with the general fund. We will have the auditors still working on the final statements, and they will be back probably in the next couple months to present those statements to the city council.
Thank you. Chief Price?
Gary, it's been an honor and a privilege. I wish you the best of luck. Nate, we got some work to do.
If I had known my antics were gonna get called out, I totally would have brought my own Kentucky Derby hat. Yeah, I do. Thank you for all the kind words. I guess I would close with excellent choice. Congratulations, Nate. Chief Seam is gonna serve the city well for many years to come. You guys are in good hands for sure. Thank you.
Well, I'll save my remarks for you till the 23rd. I don't know if everybody knew you still had a meeting to go. It made it sound like this was going to be your last one, but it's not.
I feel like I've been reminded that I've got 24 days of work left to do.
To the guy who's had the clock going for 6 years or whatever it is. Yeah. Nate, the pool was very good. You had some very good competition, and early on there was a lot of talk about internal, external, like do we go? And I think at the end of the day, like when you do the right thing, you always end up with the right result, and we absolutely ended up with the right result. You did exactly as we expected you to do. You've taken over the deputy chief position and made it your own already. And the way that the team has responded and the feedback that's been received is nothing short of amazing. And I'm not gonna say you have big shoes to fill, because I think his are technically smaller than yours. However, Chief Rutherford has provided exceptional leadership in a time of transition for our community. And there is no doubt that you will continue on and you will make it yours, and you will lead in the best way possible, in the way that the men and women that you serve with need to be led, and you'll take that department to the next level. And I couldn't be more fortunate and privileged to be jump seat to that ride and watching how you're going to continue to develop that team. So congratulations, and there will be more at your official oath of office and all the things, but in the interim and now because it's public, congratulations, Chief Appoint. I don't have anything else to add, so with that, I would seek a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 7:47.
Motion by Jake.
Second.
Second by Steve. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned at 7:47.